Vega Dorian, a traveler scarred by the stars. Vega Dorian stood at the observation window of her ship, the horizon, her dark eyes scanning the infinite expanse of space. The stars stretched out before her like a vast, silent ocean, their light cold and indifferent. But to Vega, it was home. Once, she had been part of something greater, a soldier in the Terran Special Forces, fighting to protect the galaxy from its darkest threats. She had known the rush of battle, the adrenaline of surviving impossible odds, but that life was long gone. The scars on her body, deep and permanent, were nothing compared to the ones she carried inside her dot. She, quote, left everything behind to become an explorer, roaming the fringes of known space. She documented abandoned planets, alien ruins, and strange cosmic phenomena. Yet, no matter how far she traveled, she was haunted by the ghosts of her old crew, lost on a deadly mission years ago. Their faces flashed in her mind's eye, their voices calling to her from the depths of memory. Vega wasn't just running from her past, she was searching for something, a redemption she wasn't sure existed. Every new planet, every new discovery, was a step closer to finding peace, or perhaps a deeper understanding of the loss that would never leave her. The horizon, a ship built for the unknown. The horizon wasn't just a ship, it was a part of Vega, a tool forged for her quest to escape, and perhaps to find answers. Sleek, agile, and equipped with the latest technology, it cut through the vastness of space like a blade. The ship's engines hummed quietly beneath her feet, a constant reminder that no matter how far she went, the horizon was always with her dot. As the ship sailed toward the outer rim, the stars grew more distant. This was the edge of known space, where few had dared venture. The emptiness stretched out before her, an unbroken sea of stars and dark voids. Yet within that void, Vega saw endless potential. Each unexplored system, each uncharted world, could hold a new piece of the puzzle she was desperately trying to solve. But even in this vast expanse, she couldn't escape the solitude. The horizon might carry her far from civilization, but it also carried the weight of her loneliness. The quiet of space was both comforting and suffocating. Here, she was truly alone with her thoughts, and those thoughts were often filled with doubts. The burden of loss, a soul searching in the stars. Vega's current mission, to map an abandoned star system, was no ordinary job. The system had been marked as unremarkable, its planets barren and lifeless. But to her, this mission was more than just exploration. It was a chance to confront the ghosts of the past. The memory of her old crew, their laughter, their camaraderie, was like a constant ache. She could still hear their voices, still see their faces. They had trusted her, and she had failed them. The mission had gone wrong, and they had paid the price. It was her fault. That guilt gnawed at her every waking moment. She had tried to move on, to find purpose in the stars. But was it really about discovery anymore? Or was it an escape? She often wondered if she was merely running from the truth of who she had been, who she had lost. Vega clenched her fist as she gazed at the empty space around her. Her crew was gone, and their deaths were on her hands. Could she ever redeem herself? Was this exploration just a way to bury the pain? Or was there something out there, something in the darkness, that could finally give her the closure she so desperately needed? The call to adventure, a mysterious transmission. Just as Vega prepared to enter the uncharted system, the quiet hum of her ship was broken by an unexpected signal. A transmission, garbled and distorted, suddenly blasted through her comm system, jarring her from her thoughts. She reached for the controls, adjusting the frequency, trying to clear up the static. Danger, ancient, do not approach, hidden, entity. The words were fragmented, broken, but the message was unmistakable, a warning. Her heart raced as the message repeated, this time with a chilling sense of urgency. It spoke of an ancient and forgotten entity, something hidden within the system, a presence that could pose a threat beyond imagination. Vega S mind raced. Who was sending this signal? An alien race, a lost crew, or something far worse? Whatever it was, the message was clear. This system was not as abandoned as it seemed. Her fingers hovered over the controls, her heart pounding. She could turn back. The system was still uncharted, but the voice on the transmission, the fear in its tone, pulled her forward. The unknown awaits, preparing for the uncharted. The message faded into silence, but the tension in the air remained, thick and palpable. Vega stared at the empty void before her, the abandoned star system now looming on the edge of her sight. It wasn't just another mission anymore. This was something far more dangerous, something she couldn't yet understand. As her ship neared the system, a strange sensation crept over her, an unease that she couldn't shake. It was as though the very stars themselves were watching her, waiting. She had explored countless worlds before, but none of them had made her feel this way. What lay ahead, she didn't know, but she felt the pull of the unknown, the lure of discovery, mixed with the fear of what might be waiting for her in the dark corners of space. She tightened her grip on the controls. The horizon was ready. She was ready. But was she? The stars were silent. The system ahead, once thought to be a forgotten relic, now felt like the mouth of some ancient beast, waiting to swallow her whole. The horizon, sleek and relentless, descended toward the barren surface of Solera. It was a world shrouded in silence, its surface broken only by jagged rock formations and the remnants of forgotten structures. Vega Dorian, a figure clad in the utilitarian suit of an explorer, gazed out from the cockpit. There was nothing, no sign of life, no signs of recent habitation. The barren landscape stretched endlessly beneath her, the dead sky above it a washed-out gray, as if the world had long ago given up. The landing gear scraped against the rough surface, and Vega's heart skipped a beat. The weight of this place pressed on her. This world had once known life, but now, its existence was nothing more than a tomb. She stood, her limbs stiff, eyes scanning the horizon. The wind whispered, as if carrying the secrets of a long-lost civilization, secrets that had slipped through the cracks of time. Stepping out of the horizon, Vega felt the dust of Solera cling to her boots. As she walked through the desolate landscape, the ruins loomed over her. Once towering structures, now fractured and crumbling, stood like broken monuments to a forgotten age. The air was thick with history, but also with a strange emptiness, as though this world had once been full of stories now lost. Vega placed her hand on the cold stone of one of the ancient walls. What happened here? She whispered, the question falling into the stillness, unanswered. The mysterious energy, a signal from below. As Vega trekked through the ruins, the quiet of Solera enveloped her. But in the back of her mind, a faint hum, subtle, almost imperceptible, began to grow. Her scanning device beeped, the data read out flashing with energy readings that didn't make sense. These were not natural signatures, not the kind of radiation or energy normally encountered in the galaxy. The signal was faint, but undeniable. Could it be? She muttered to herself, pulling up the readings. The device's screen flickered, and Vega felt her pulse quicken. The signal was coming from beneath the planet's crust, buried deep below the surface. Something, or someone, was trying to communicate. Driven by curiosity, Vega adjusted her course. She followed the trail, the signal growing stronger with each step. The energy pulsed with an almost organic rhythm, like a heartbeat, alive, eager, and just out of reach. As her boots crunched over the dusty surface, she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever lay ahead was calling her, drawing her toward it, like a moth to a flame. Yet calmer, The more she approached the source, the more she realized that this signal wasn't a simple anomaly. It was deliberate, and it was warning her of something far beyond her comprehension. The ruins, alien technology beyond time. The deeper Vega ventured into the ruins, the more the eerie silence began to oppress her. Ancient structures, once mighty, now lay shattered, but it wasn't the devastation that drew her in. It was the sight of something buried beneath the wreckage. A metallic surface gleamed faintly in the dim light, half hidden beneath layers of dirt and decay. She crouched down, clearing the debris with trembling hands. Beneath it, a piece of alien technology, beautiful and far more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had ever encountered, lay exposed. The intricate design hinted at a civilization that had mastered technologies Vega couldn't even begin to understand. Yet, despite its magnificence, the device was broken, its power source dead, its purpose a mystery. Vega said, fingers brushed over the cool surface, tracing the patterns, trying to piece together what this artifact was meant to do. But it was useless. The technology was inaccessible, damaged beyond repair, and yet, something about it tugged at her, beckoning her to keep searching. There was more here, something hidden, just beyond her grasp. With a sigh, she stood up. "What happened to you?" she whispered. "Who were you running from?" The warning, a message from the past. Just as Vega turned to leave the crumbling chamber, the transmission from the horizon crackled, breaking through the silence. She froze, her heart pounding. The message, distorted before, suddenly began to clear up. Static morphed into words. "The traveler is coming." The voice, an ancient echo from beyond the stars, sent a chill down her spine. The message was fragmented, but its meaning was clear enough. Something was coming, something terrifying. As the transmission continued, the voice warned her of the ones who slept, ancient entities, locked away for eons, now awakening. The words were cryptic, but the fear was palpable. Vega's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just a message, this was a prophecy, and the prophecy was about her. "Why me?" she murmured. "What do you want me to do?" The weight of the warning settled in her chest like a stone. Whatever she had stumbled upon on Solera wasn't just an artifact or a forgotten world. It was a signal, a beacon, a cry for help, or perhaps a harbinger of doom, unveiling the past, an ancient war of gods. The deeper Vega explored, the more the fragments of the past began to fit together. The ruins, once thought to be the remnants of a lost civilization, were now revealing themselves as a battleground, a war of godlike entities who wielded power unimaginable to ordinary beings, had torn through this system. The record she uncovered spoke of celestial beings, whose very existence threatened the fabric of the universe. They fought not just for dominion over worlds, but for control over the very forces of nature itself. It was a war that shook the stars, leaving nothing but ruin in its wake. As Vega pieced together the data, she realized the horrific truth. The entity referred to in the transmission was not just a forgotten god, it was one of the players in that ancient conflict, and its return could spell the end of everything. The beings, who had once been worshipped as gods, had now become monstrous forces of destruction, and one of them was awakening. Her heart raced. This was the darkness she had sensed in the transmission, the traveler, coming for her. Vega's decision, curiosity versus safety, standing amidst the ruins. Vega's mind raced. She had uncovered far more than she had bargained for. Every piece of data, every fragment of truth she uncovered brought her closer to something unspeakable. Yet, despite the danger, her curiosity refused to let her turn back. "I have to know more," she muttered, clenching her fists. The ghosts of her past, the loss of her crew, all of it drove her forward. She needed closure. She needed to understand what had happened, what was still happening, even if it meant facing the horror buried beneath this dead world. She glanced toward the ship, the horizon,
now a distant speck in the background. Escape was an option, safety was an option, but her thirst for knowledge and redemption outweighed them all. She would stay, whatever it takes, she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. The decision was made. The surface of Solera is barren and haunting. Vega steps down from the horizon, the echo of her boots on the cracked ground the only sound. Above her, a dull, lifeless sky stretches endlessly, a reminder of the planet's forsaken history. As she gazes at the ruins surrounding her, an ancient civilization once thriving here, now reduced to rubble, she can't shake the feeling that the silence is watching her. There's something alive beneath this dead world. Her hands tremble as she approaches an enormous half-buried artifact. Alien runes are carved into the surface, glowing faintly in the shadows of the ruined structures. Curiosity drives her, a compulsion she can't ignore. She activates the device with a quick, practiced motion. Something deep inside her knows this wasn't meant to be disturbed. The ground vibrates, the machine hums to life, and a shockwave of energy pulses outward from the planet. Vega stumbles back, heart racing. Her comm unit buzzes, but it's not a message she recognizes. The signal reverberates across the galaxy, rippling outward like a beacon in the vast dark. A voice emerges, ancient and booming, echoing through the still air. The planet is no longer under the influence of the dormant entity. Vega's blood runs cold. She's done something terrible. A dark secret, the prison of the Arak. As the machine activates, the ground beneath Vega's feet trembles. The air grows heavier, thick with an ominous energy. Something stirs in the deep reaches of the planet's crust, and a low, almost imperceptible hum begins to resonate through the ground. Then reality begins to warp. Vega watches in horror as the very laws of physics seem to bend, like light refracted through a prism. Space itself shudders. She staggers backward, her heart racing as a terrible truth unfolds. The machine wasn't just a relic, it was a prison, a containment field for the Arak. The Arak were not mere creatures, they were godlike beings, ancient entities, capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality. Vega's stomach turns as the atmosphere grows heavier still, like the planet itself is holding its breath. The power of the Arak pulses through the air, and Vega feels an overwhelming presence pushing against her mind. She can hear their whispers, not in words but in feelings, visions of destruction, of worlds falling to their knees, of entire civilizations undone by their power. Her chest tightens. They are awakening, and they will destroy everything. Humanity's last hope. The distress signal. With her heart racing, Vega scrambles for the comm unit strapped to her wrist. Her mind spins with the realization of what she's done, what she's unleashed. There's no time to waste. Terran fleet, this is Captain Vega of the Horizon. We've triggered an ancient entity. The Arak are waking, requesting immediate support. I repeat, requesting immediate support. Her voice trembles, but she forces herself to remain steady. The fleet is days away. Worse, it could take weeks for a full response. That's an eternity when the Arak are on the verge of breaking free. Her fingers tap the console frantically as the distress signal crackles out into the void. Vega knows this is it. She's alone, but she refuses to let that stop her. She will fight. She must. She steps away from the artifact, her eyes darting back to the swirling skies. Time is slipping away, and she must act before the Arak's power spreads beyond the planet. First contact, cultural clash with the Xanath. It's been days since Vega sent the distress signal. Hope fades with every moment. But then, a ship appears, one that doesn't belong to the Terran fleet. It's sleek and strange, its surface shimmering with an iridescent glow, unlike anything Vega has ever seen. It lands softly in the barren wasteland, and the hatch opens to reveal a figure, Trelon, a member of the Zarquart Nath. The Xanath are a peaceful, intellectual race, advanced beyond humanity in knowledge. But when Trelon speaks, his voice is filled with skepticism. Humans, he says, His words clicked. You are far too primitive to understand the forces at play here. Vega's eyes narrow. I don't need your judgment, Trelon. I need your help. The Arak. Yes, I know of them. You've unleashed something you cannot control. Trelon interrupts. His voice is calm, but the underlying disapproval is clear. The Arak are beyond comprehension. You should leave this place and return to your people. It is the only way. I'm not leaving. Vega snaps, stepping forward. You don't understand. They're already waking. If we don't stop them now, the entire galaxy will burn. Trelon studies her for a long moment, and Vega can see the internal conflict in his eyes. Despite his disapproval, he can't deny the truth of her words. Slowly, his expression softens, and a hint of respect flickers in his gaze. You may be right, he admits, but even with our technology, defeating them will require more than just willpower. The diverging paths, different approaches to the Arak. The tension between Vega and Trelon grows. The Xanath propose a more diplomatic approach, study, negotiation, perhaps even a peaceful resolution with the Arak. But Vega knows better. She's seen the damage the Arak can do. She's watched civilizations burn. We don't have time for that, Vega argues, her voice rising. We're facing the end of everything we know. These beings, these gods don't negotiate. They dominate. We need to strike first. Trelon shakes his head. We do not fight as you do. We seek knowledge, not destruction. Vega clenches her fists. And while you sit back and think, we lose. The Arak don't wait for you to make up your mind. Trelon, they'll tear everything apart. We're not dealing with a philosophy. We're dealing with a force that can obliterate entire star systems. The silence between them is thick, like an unspoken acknowledgement of the immense stakes. But Vega knows what has to be done.
A new alliance, humanity's resilience in the face of crisis. The final, desperate push against the Arak is upon them. Time is running out. The Xanath's advanced technology and Vega's practical experience must come together to stand a chance. They work together, Vega's ingenuity pulling the best from both human creativity and Xanath wisdom. She begins to adapt their technology, finding ways to integrate it with human designs. What the Xanath thought impossible becomes possible in Vega's hands. How did you know to do that? Trelon asks, watching in awe as Vega rewires a device, creating a weapon that could potentially stop the Arak. Vega grins, her eyes fierce with determination. Humans have to think differently. When everyone else says it's impossible, that's when we make it happen. Together, they fight. And though their methods are different, Vega's grit against Trelon's intelligence, they begin to form an unstoppable force. It's a fragile alliance, but it's the only chance the galaxy has. In the distance, the ground shakes. The Arak's influence grows stronger with every passing moment. But Vega is ready, and she knows one thing: humanity, when pushed to the edge, doesn't back down. We fight, we survive. And we win. The surface of Solera ripples like the disturbed surface of a pond. Once solid, familiar terrain twists into nightmarish shapes. Mountains stretch unnaturally into the sky, while rivers bend in impossible arcs. Trees, like spindly fingers, twist into shapes that defy logic. The very fabric of reality is being corrupted. Vega, standing on the shattered ground, watches as the sky above her warps into hues of unnatural reds and greens, clouds swirling in twisted patterns. The hum of the ancient alien machine continues in the background, its power now fully awakened. She can feel its pulse, like a heartbeat that thunders against her chest. Something is wrong, terribly wrong. Her hand tightens around the communicator. This is Vega. I've made a mistake. Her voice trembles despite her resolve. The galaxy is now watching as the Arak godlike entities stir from their centuries-long slumber. Their power rips through the very essence of reality. For every breath she takes, the world around her seems to unravel further, cascading into chaos. The silence of space suddenly feels ominous. the stars in the sky flickering like dying embers. The Arak's powers stretch far beyond the physical. They can manipulate reality itself, and Solera is just the beginning. With every second, their influence expands, swallowing the galaxy in their grip. The message she sent has already gone out across the stars. The warning was clear. The Arak are no longer dormant, and the galaxy will either fall or fight. Only one thing is certain: the Arak's rise could herald the end of everything. The reality of their awakening is too vast to ignore, too dangerous to contemplate. Vega realizes with a sinking heart that nothing will ever be the same again. Humanity's last stand. The Terran fleet arrives. The deep hum of the engines vibrates through the deck of the Terran flagship Relentless. Commander Ailey Drayton stands at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the large screen displaying the fleet's approach to Solera. The sight is breathtaking. A dozen ships, massive and determined, appearing as tiny specks against the vast blackness of space. They are humanity's last defense. The Arak loom in the distance, huge, incomprehensible forms, their reality-bending presence radiating waves of terror. Despite the odds, the Terran fleet charges forward, their weapons primed, ready to face an enemy like no other. Vega watches from the surface, feeling the swell of fear and hope clash in her chest. The first shots are fired, and the sky bursts with fire and energy as the Terran ships begin their battle with the Arak's forces. Human ingenuity and raw determination surge against the alien onslaught. Ships fly in erratic patterns, dodging blasts and returning fire with deadly accuracy. Explosions fill the void, painting the stars with the light of conflict. Inside the command deck, Commander Drayton grits his teeth as his crew fights to stay focused. The odds stacked against them. Give them hell, he mutters, his voice a growl. The humans aren't many, but they're not afraid. Each blow they strike against the Arak is a testament to their resilience. Even in the face of impossible odds, humanity doesn't retreat. They fight, they survive, they adapt. The Arak might have power beyond comprehension, but the Terrans are fueled by something more: human spirit, the unyielding force that refuses to be crushed. The ultimate sacrifice. Vega's choice. Vega stares at the ancient alien device, its glowing surface pulsing with a life of its own. Her mind races, considering the possibilities. This machine is the key to stopping the Arak, but using it requires a terrible price. The machine demands a fusion between human and alien tech. The moment she merges with it, there will be no turning back. Her hand hovers over the activation panel. She can feel the weight of the decision crushing her. The galaxy's fate rests on her shoulders. She thinks of Earth, of her crew, of everything they fought for. The faces of the people she loves flash through her mind. Her heart beats louder in her chest, as if it's trying to convince her to find another way. But there is no other way. Her voice cracks as she speaks to herself. I don't have a choice. She takes a deep breath, feeling a strange calm spread over her. It's the same feeling she had when she first ventured into deep space. That same resolve, that same need to survive. Humanity doesn't back down. She won't either. Vega activates the device. The machine hums, and a cold rush of energy floods her body. Her body trembles as it merges with the ancient tech. The world around her shifts and bends. She can feel her humanity slipping away, consumed by the alien force. But she doesn't fight it. She can't. There is no choice but to sacrifice herself for the greater good. The clash of human spirit and alien power. Vega's mind swims in a sea of endless data, logic, and alien coldness. The machine's programming is overpowering, invasive. Her human spirit fights, pushing back against the sterile calculations that are now part of her. Every thought, every feeling she has is being drowned by the machine's cold logic. But Vega holds on. She grits her teeth, clinging to her humanity. The machine wants to swallow her, to strip her of everything she is, but she resists. She is more than data. She is a human, and that means something. The machine, for all its power, cannot understand her. It cannot understand human will. I won't break, she whispers, the words heavy with the weight of her determination. Her body convulses as the alien technology tries to consume her.
Reality itself begins to fracture around her, the machine's logic pulling the universe apart. But Vega fights. She holds on to her identity, her soul. She will not let the alien logic strip her of her humanity. She won't let it win. A final act of bravery, the destruction of the Arak with a scream that rips through her very being. Vega unleashes the full might of the alien machine. Energy floods through her, and the Arak's presence begins to falter. The godlike entities tremble, their power wavering as Vega channels the full force of the device. She can feel it, the energy crackling in the air, tearing through the fabric of reality itself. In one final, glorious surge, she releases everything. A wave of energy crashes across the Arak, destroying their reality-warping powers. They begin to disintegrate, their forms fading into nothingness, as the power of Vega's will obliterates them. But as the Arak fall, so too does Vega. Her body, consumed by the energy, collapses. Her last breath is a whispered promise to those she fought to protect. The Arak are gone, the galaxy is saved, but at a cost. The aftermath, a hero's legacy. The stars seem a little brighter now, but the galaxy will never be the same. The Terran fleet's victory is celebrated across countless worlds, but there is a heavy sorrow in the hearts of those who knew Vega. She gave everything for their survival. Her name is etched into the annals of history, a symbol of humanity's strength, sacrifice, and resilience. On Solera, the twisted landscapes begin to heal, the scarred planet slowly finding its balance. But Vega's legacy lingers in the hearts of every soul who looks to the stars and remembers the human who stood alone against the darkness. Her sacrifice reminds the galaxy that no matter how overwhelming the odds, humanity will never back down, and that in the end, is the greatest power of all. The Arakub, a race whose very presence bent the fabric of reality, were sealed away once more. Their twisted godlike power was locked beyond the stars, and the galaxy, battered and broken, exhaled a collective sigh of relief. But there was no joy in this victory. The price of survival was steep, so steep that it left the minds of those who survived in a haze of sorrow. Vega stood at the center of this heavy silence. Her body, once full of life and purpose, was now bound to an alien machine. Her mind lost in the endless void of a comatose state. The alien technology that had saved them all had taken more than her consciousness. It had taken her life. The sacrifice was irrevocable. As humanity celebrated, they carried the weight of her absence in their hearts. Her final act had sealed the Arak's fate, but it had come at the highest cost imaginable. Vega's name would be remembered, but no one could forget the price of her heroism. The galaxy was safe, but it was forever marked by the void left in her place. The aftermath, rebuilding and reflection. The Terran fleet had done what no one thought possible. They had turned the tide against the Arak. The battle was over, but the war had left scars, visible and invisible. The shattered worlds now needed to be rebuilt, and while the Terran fleet worked tirelessly to restore stability, there was another, deeper recovery at hand. The healing of the spirits of those who had fought and sacrificed. Among those watching the reconstruction was the Xanath. Once they had doubted humanity's place in the galaxy, seeing them as little more than a fleeting species caught in the web of their own ambitions. Now, they looked at humans with something entirely different in their eyes: respect. The bravery of the Terran fleet had shattered the Xanath's misconceptions. They saw now that humanity's true power wasn't in their technology or might, but in something far more elusive: resilience. The Arak had tested humanity, pushed them to the edge, and they had survived. The Xanath could no longer deny what they had witnessed. Humanity, quote, strength wasn't just in their victories, it was in their unwavering will to stand up again, no matter the odds. A new legacy, honoring the fallen hero, in the heart of the system that had once been a battleground. A new name echoed across the stars: Vega. The Terran fleet, in a tribute to her sacrifice, named the system after her. It was more than a name. It was a living legacy of everything she had fought for. Her courage, her unshakable resolve, would never be forgotten, not as long as the galaxy continued to turn. Every mission, every new journey into the unknown, would now carry her name. The fleet vowed that Vega's sacrifice would not be in vain. It was a promise made not only to her, but to every human who would venture into the vast unknown in the years to come. Her legacy would continue through them. They would explore the stars with the same spirit that had burned in her heart. They would push forward, no matter the cost, just as she had done, and they would always remember her. Trellan's reflection, the unpredictability of humanity alone. In a quiet corner of the ship, Trellan, the once skeptical Xanath, stood beside the comatose body of Vega. Her life, frozen in time, was a haunting reminder of the unpredictable power of humanity. He had come to respect the Terran fleet, but now, as he stood in silence, he found himself reflecting on something deeper. What made humanity truly different from the rest of the galaxy? What drives you? He whispered, his voice barely audible. How can you face the impossible with such conviction? The answers eluded him. The humans, in all their flaws, had shown him that their true strength wasn't just in their advanced technology or war tactics, but in their unpredictability. They could bend, they could break, but they would never truly yield. It was in their spirit, their constant evolution, and their terrifying adaptability. In the face of the unknown, they didn't retreat. They surged forward. Trellan could not help but admire it. He had once seen humanity as impulsive, reckless, and chaotic, but now he saw it for what it was, a force of nature, a wild, untamable energy that both terrified and fascinated him. They would continue to surprise, to challenge, and to change the course of history, and perhaps, in their own way, they were the true architects of the future. I never understood, Trellan muttered, but perhaps I'm starting to. As he left the room, his thoughts lingered on the resilience he had witnessed, a mystery that only humanity could truly solve. Decades had passed since Vega Dorian's sacrifice, yet her name echoed through every corner of the galaxy. The story of the human who had locked away the Arak and saved countless lives was no longer just a memory. It was a legend. From the Terran colonies to distant star systems, Vega's bravery was recounted in hushed tones, each telling slightly different, but equally awestruck. Her courage had become the very definition of humanity's resilience. With each retelling, her tale grew, reaching the heights of myth. She was the one who had given everything, her mind, her body, her future, so that the rest of the galaxy could live. The Horizon, the ship that had once carried her to the heart of the storm, now stood as a monument to the past. Anchored in the heart of Earth's first spaceport, it was no longer just a vessel, it was a symbol. Its halls, once filled with the hum of engines and the rush of life, were now silent, echoing with the weight of its legacy. Tourists from across the galaxy came to stand within its walls, listening to stories of intergalactic battles and the undying human spirit. Vega's sacrifice, preserved in the quiet hum of the horizon, reminded every visitor that humanity was capable of greatness beyond comprehension. A child's dream, the spark of a new generation. On a quiet Terran colony, nestled among the stars, a child sat wide-eyed, listening to the tale of Vega Dorian. The room was filled with the soft murmur of a storyteller, but to the child, the world outside seemed to vanish. In the depths of Vega's story, the child found something unspoken, a call to adventure, to bravery, to exploring the unknown. Vega had faced down unimaginable odds, sacrificing herself for the good of others, and as the child heard of Vega's triumphs, something stirred deep inside them. This wasn't just a story, it was a vision of their future. They imagined themselves, years from now, standing on the edge of some new world, gazing into the stars. Perhaps one day, they too would sail through the unknown, guided by the same unyielding spirit that Vega had shown. With every beat of their heart, they vowed to honor the legacy that had been passed to them. The flame of humanity's dreams had been passed, and this child would carry it forward. Final thought, the unyielding human spirit. The stars whispered the truth. It was a truth older than time itself, a truth that transcended the ages, carrying with it the promise of humanity's unbreakable will. In the vast expanse of the universe, there is one truth: the human spirit cannot be contained. Wherever there is darkness, we will light the way. Those words hung in the air like a cosmic declaration, a reminder to all who ventured into the unknown that humanity would never falter. No matter what the future held, no matter how dark the paths ahead, humanity would face it together. They would explore, adapt, and overcome, just as they always had done. And so, the story of Vega Dorian lived on. But it was not just her story, it was the story of all of humanity. As long as there was darkness, humanity would continue to blaze a trail for others to follow. The legacy of Vega was not just in the stars above, but in the hearts of every explorer who dared to dream. The unyielding human spirit would never fade, it would only burn brighter.